So, welcome to the first semester MOCC Survey Feedback Response. Next semester, we will shorten that for me. Thank you.
About what this is.
Okay.
So at the end of last semester, we put out a survey to all of the families to fill out, just asking questions around co-op and how you feel, things you would like to see differently, so on. So we feel that it would be best that we go over the questions, the responses, and kind of to have a little discussion about people's responses of why we do things or why we can't do something or something along those lines. So you guys get more understanding of how things run on our side.
All right.
How's that?
So, I guess we'll start with the questions. Just wanted to say thank you for Gina and Angie, y'all taking some time to, you know, listen to the responses and let's just give them some nice feedback. So here we go. Y'all ready?
Mm-hmm.
Are y'all excited?
Yep, we're excited.
Okay. Question one.
I spoke for Angie, I guess.
Yeah. Question one. How would you describe your overall experience with co-op this semester? So,
The
so
responses we received were positive with good and excellent responses across the board.
okay, that's good. That's good. What about number two? What were the highlights of your semester at co-op?
Responses were that they love the new building and that it's clean, the class options, new leadership, and that they are approachable. The feelings of community and being able to sit outside for lunch. We all love that. The play area, how the kids are enjoying their classes, making new friends, and how they look forward to co-op days. Families love extras like the book fairs, the library truck, our fellowships, all of our special events and sports that we offer. And it says parents enjoy the Night Bites Cafe and not having to pack a lunch every week.
Yeah,
I have to agree with that one.
yeah, definitely, definitely.
Me too.
All right, number three, Miss Gina.
Hmm.
Were there any challenges or difficulties that you experienced this semester? What were some of the responses that we got?
Okay, well, the first response we got were helpers were having difficulty taking attendance and requested a physical copy of the roster to be available. I can say that this is being resolved by a couple different ways. We are trying to stay paperless, and our new current system only allows teachers to enter in attendance for the classes. So we are now going to be adding all helpers to their assigned classes. So they'll be able to log in and take attendance. So they'll see teacher views just like the teachers do, and they can log in, take the attendance. And we will make physical rosters, not on paper, but where you could use over and over again for like attendance sheet, but in each classroom there will be a roster printed out and laminated for each class that's in that classroom. So you can at least see what students you should expect and then make sure that it matches up with your app.
Okay. What about I believe the other response was the storage of supplies is a big concern and getting difficult, or excuse me, difficulty getting items out of the storage and moving classroom supplies. Any comments on how about that?
Well, this is something with our new big, beautiful building that we have. We do have some limitations. We can't have, the little boxes like we used to have in the classrooms because of storage issues. So the church has emptied some of the cabinets in the classrooms, and you'll see they're labeled either MOCC or they're labeled the church. So we have to kind of share that space. You can send your helpers to go get cleaning supplies during the classes if you need it. So everything is just kind of kept in that general location that we have there. Just remember, if you put something in the cabinets in the classroom, any teacher that uses that classroom can use it. So if you want to have anything that's just yours, you want to put it in the storage container in your bin, or carry it back and forth with you. But that's kind of how we're doing it, sharing the space with the church.
Okay. I believe the next one was finding information about different activities and information for events.
Um, Communication is, I can't always say it's a struggle, but it is always something that we have tried to put out there in as many places as possible. I know that it is our we have a calendar on our website that stays up to date with everything that's happening within that semester. We send out weekly newscast with our night's news that tells what's going on for the next week or two. We put stuff out on Facebook with Facebook posts and events that are happening. You have the information desk inside the co-op that's happening, that there's always information written up on the board, or there's flyers on the desk also. So we try to put it out there as many ways as possible. Somebody had suggested a like an app to for everybody to stay communicated with. Like I know the board uses a band app, so we can all help communicate. Um, we have talked about that in the past, prior administration, prior board, all that kind of stuff, and people kind of griped about having to have another app and another something else on their phone or another place to check for text messages. So that is why we started the text messaging, which everybody should have got a text message and you can opt in and out of the text messages. But we'll do announcements on that when co-op starts back up also.
Okay. What do you think your favorite way of communicating is, or what would be your favorite of how to receive the information personally?
Mine would be text messages.
Miss Angie, what about you?
Text messages are good. I feel like our phones are always right there and we're always kind of checking that first. I am anyway.
Yeah.
And don't forget also that our calendar has a sync program on it. So if you go in and opt to sync your phone with the calendar, and I think John, you did a video or something about how to
Yes.
do that,
Yep.
then everything that's happening will co-op will automatically show up in your phone's calendar. And I just went through and did a whole bunch of updates for next semester. So there's they're showing up in my phone because they sync, so I know that it works.
Okay. Good deal. Good deal. Let's see. The next one. Um, this is going to be a little bit of a tough one. Changing of dates at the last minute. I think they gave the example the dance on that one. Miss Angie, you want to take that one?
Yes. So, first of all, we apologize for anybody that this affected in a negative way. So, pretty much, we have to submit a calendar of dates and events in May for the next school year for the building. So, the sports calendar didn't come out until after the semester had started. So, those sports events weren't on there yet when we had some other things already planned. So, we had to make a small quick adjustment to the date of the dance. We can't say it'll never happen again, but we always do try not to have to reschedule things because we know you're all busy. Everybody, has their schedules in place. So we understand that and we apologize for that. But we will try our best to not have to do something like that as much as possible.
Okay. Let's see. Smaller room sizes and changes have been difficult to keep up with. Miss Gina, what about you?
Um, Unfortunately, with our new big beautiful building, it does come with smaller classrooms. Um, Ultimately, at the end of the day, it is up to the teacher's discretions of how many kids that they want in their classrooms. And with this last semester being the first semester in the building, we already had kids registered and we had already had everything in place and in motion. So we were just like, okay, we're just going to roll with it and see how it goes. And we understand it was a little bit cramped. We have made some adjustments on some of the room sizes on this upcoming semester. But again, if we approach a teacher and she's like, no, I'm fine with this many kids, we'll squeeze them in, we're going to make it work, then we're going to roll with the teacher's request for that. So they know the space and they know where they, what they have to work with. So,
Okay. Let's see. Teachers to communicate more and in a timelier manner rather than the last minute. Miss Angie, you want to take that one?
All right. Well, we have a lot of new changes, our building, new system that we have. So we're all learning and growing along with this, the board, the teachers, all of our families and students too. And especially our teachers when it comes to this. So the teachers and parents will be sent a new how-to video on the new system so that you can use some of the features on the website for communication and uploading and viewing a syllabus and assignments for the parents to be able to see. If you have anything like that that you want to share with your parents, your students, and your classes. Not all teachers are going to assign homework or assignments like that, and that's okay. But we are going to go through so everybody is familiar with the system and knows how to do that if that is something that they want to do.
Okay. Class descriptions not matching the class or being more advanced or not as advanced as anticipated. They gave an example was class being described as hands-on, but then when they get in there, it's more worksheets. Or like if a class as scripted for upper elementary, but it's kind of being more of a middle school class. What's your thoughts on that, Miss Gina?
In my opinion, the best thing to handle with a situation like this is talking to the teacher because the teacher may had an idea for this plan for this class, submitted the description that was put up on the website that everybody sees when they register, but then as they're planning and prepping for their class, they can say, "Oh no, this curriculum's not going to work. I don't know, they couldn't get the licenses for it, or it's not not on the right level. I don't know, different things that can happen. And the teacher can adjust the schedule and they might not think about what was in that original description. So if you go to the class, if you go to the teacher and just say, hey, I signed Johnny up for this class because I thought it was going to be more of a hands-on. He struggles when it comes to worksheets. The teacher be like, oh, I didn't even think about this as described as a hands-on class. And then maybe the teacher then can make that adjustment or think about it for the next time when they go into the class. But we have to be able to be open and communicate with everybody about issues that we're having, especially when it's classes that we're paying for and it affects our children. So,
Yeah.
and if you don't get the proper response from the teacher, sorry, John, if we
No,
don't get the proper response from the teacher, you can always come to the board and we can discuss it also.
yes, correct on that. I was just going to say, as a first time teacher this semester, and with some of my math classes, I had one that a lot of the students were like, we did this like last year. And then I had one of my math classes where I had kind of adjusted it a little too hard the other direction. So sometimes you just have to, call an audible and pivot and kind of roll on with it. But yeah, definitely, I agree with those talking points on that.
Yep.
Um, Indoor recess. I know we have this huge like open area outside, but then when it comes to the indoor recess, when weather is bad out, that was another concern that we had. Ms. Angie, would you like to take that one?
Yeah, so indoor recess is always going to happen. We have really cold, bad weather, or we have rain or something like that where we can't go outside. The kids still look forward to that time after lunch. I know they do. Something to kind of hang out with their friends, play around a little bit. So we have different options for indoor recess. We do have our big gym that we have there. We have different rooms that we set up board games and things. But when it comes down to it, we need volunteers. We need you parents to help supervise the children in the different places. The board, we're always walking around trying to do things, but we can't be everywhere all the time. So we need some parents, several of you in the gym to help us out, watch the kids, make sure they're not, throwing balls through the lights or the window or whatever in the gym, and kind of keep that to a nice, maybe start some organized games with the kids, or take it upon yourself to go ahead and start some games with the kids and stuff. They would love that, I'm sure. And then a couple parents in each room, like with the board games. Sometimes Mr. John will put a movie on in his room. We could have a parent or two in there. That would be great. But inevitably, we just ask, especially during this time when they might be all over the building, that you make sure you keep an eye on your kids. In the end, we're all responsible for our own children, the same as for me, and watching my two and where they're always running. You know how my little one does. So we just keep an eye on our kids during indoor recess. We'll get through it, and we are looking forward to spring when we can all go back outside and have beautiful weather and have all the fun recess things outside that we know our kids love.
Definitely. Next question is next comment is hard to connect with other parents during downtime. I can see where that's happening. Miss Gina, you want to take that one?
If I get any situation, I get this one. I am if I'm being 100% honest, I'm kind of jealous of the moms that get to sit around and talk because I'm always running around and doing other things and taking care of things, and I don't get to connect with anybody. So I understand this one. That's why we have different things set up throughout co-op so we can meet new people and we can mingle and outside of co-op hours where we have our we call them parents' nights, or we are actually going to kick it up a little bit more. We're going to do like canning classes and we're going to have craft nights and we're going to go where we just go and eat dinner. And there's some events that kids are allowed to go to and some that are not. It all depends on the situation, which I know makes it hard when you have littles that you need to go to. So we are looking into having more parents' nights where kids are available, where kids can at least play and we do a craft or communicate or talk or whatever. We're going to have movie nights where everybody can come and hang out. And there is places around co-op also. When you're at co-op, you can always sit in the lobby all the way up until the last 2 hours. And when karate comes in, but you're able to move chairs and stuff out there and sit. There's always the dining hall that always has chairs set up. There's the balcony that's available. I think we have one class up there this semester now, but if that class isn't going on, you parents can go sit up there and chit chat and talk and have quiet time. So there's different things that are be happening this year or this semester that's coming up to try to get more communication and meet more new people.
Okay. I would like to add to that. Parents' night out. So that's a really good one. I feel like that's doesn't give enough credit, and a lot of people don't know that much about it. Guys, dads, fathers, husbands, like y'all can come. I, I'm usually there. Gina's husband's usually there. Well, it's at her house, so he kind of has to be there. But
And he comes and hangs out with you
he
guys.
does.
You guys sit
Yeah,
around and talk. Sigrid's husband's
Sigrid's
been there
husband.
before.
So, there are more and more guys showing up every time, and we kind of do our thing, and the ladies go do their thing, and the kids
Run
show up
amok.
too. Yeah, they run them. But a lot of people, I know from my perspective, because I'm very new to the co-op scene. At first, I didn't go to a lot of these because I was like, well, what do I do with my kids? You know, and I love the fact that our parents' night outs, we have a place to where the kids can go and do stuff with them. And I know my kids love parents' night out because they get to spend extra time with their friends and stuff. Um, so and it's not just a mom's night out anymore; it's parents' night out. So I just wanted to reiterate on that because I feel like that is very underutilized, under communicate. I don't know the correct term that I want to use on that, but shout out to Parents Night.
Right. Well, and we also, and I just thought about it too. We have always had them at somebody's house, or we've gone to a restaurant many years ago. But we also just got permission from the church that we could utilize the gym or the dining hall to host them there. So if people don't want to, if they don't want a bunch of people in their house and they want to, we can have it at the church
Yeah.
too. So
Movie
they
night.
charge us a small little fee, but everybody pay like, I don't know, $5 and then they can come to the church and then we don't have to worry about wrecking somebody's house or something along those lines.
That'll be awesome.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. How do we feel about our new building and classrooms? Um, some of the responses that we got were excellent, with one being fair due to the storage and the classroom sizes on that. Um, Angie, did you want to add anything to that or?
I think it comes back to when I was talking about storage and having things in the classrooms earlier. Um, Unfortunately, the storage that we have is not going to be in the classrooms as much as we used to, but that's just part of the, give and take. We have our beautiful building. We have to kind of adjust our storage, expectations a little bit, but there are plenty of bins in our storage unit. If you haven't been in there, teachers especially, and you need help kind of getting your stuff a place to put it in there, come grab one of us and we'll help you out. We have the cleaning closet there where there's all the cleaning supplies that you'll need for your classroom. We have the Lysol wipes, we have vinegar cleaner, there's rags, paper towels, trash bags, toilet paper, everything that you guys would need would be in there. If there's something that you can't find, you can reach out to one of us as well. When it comes to first aid, I know that was something that was mentioned too. Like we used to have first aid kits in the classrooms. If you don't know, we have a whole little first aid room that is off of the gym there now. It's like a nurse's station, you may call it. So if you have a student who needs a band-aid or has some kind of little accident or something, you or your helper can bring them up to that room, get one of us if you need to. There's band-aids and all that sort of thing that you would need in there. Um, so you can, make sure that you have a helper or somebody help you do something like that. And then the other thing was hand sanitizer. We will work on making sure that every classroom has hand sanitizer. That is something that shouldn't be a problem. Like we put tissues in every classroom. We'll make sure that every class has hand sanitizer. I know some of them already do, but we'll double check on that too.
All right. Ms. Gina, what about teacher has a student roster in each room and a list of where each parent is during that time?
Um, this one here, like I've already discussed, that we're going to basically print off the roster for each class. It's going to be in each classroom, and we're going to hang it up into the classroom. As far as where the parents are going to be, that one's a little bit more difficult because parents could be outside sitting down reading a book, or they can be in the dining hall. We don't know where parents are at all given times. They have to stay within on the property, so we know that they're around. But we will be rolling out a new system, hopefully this semester. It's in the works right now of what is called a kid check. And each kid will have it's like a check-in system like you see at church. You come in, you check in your system now, which we've done in the past with the tablets. This system here is just a little bit more upgraded. It'll actually print off a label with especially for the little kids, the parent contact information, phone number, um, and then they will also be added to an app for the teachers that the teachers will be able to log in to see, and they'll see every kid in their class, and there's an emergency text button. So they'll be able to text the parent directly from the app saying, hey, Johnny just bumped his head. I need you to be here right now. And it sends in a text directly to the parent. And then the teachers don't have to worry about hunting or finding the parent or the phone number or anything like that. So this is something that we're working on, and it should be out very close to the first day of next semester. So
That's good. Sometimes there isn't much seating inside during study halls. Tables are usually reserved for classes, leaving not much room for parents, students during break periods. Miss Angie, did you want to tackle that concern?
Yeah, kind of like Gina spoke about before. We have lots of areas to go. I feel like if you were here with us in the old building compared to the new building, we do have a lot more space. We a lot more space for parents to hang out. We just kind of have to get a little bit creative when it comes to messes in the classes, because we can't have those messy classes and things going on inside of the classroom now with the carpet. So we're trying to keep that nice and clean. So we will have classes in the dining area now, the tables that some of you have mentioned. And that's really mainly because the weather is kind of poopy outside right now and cold to do those activities outside. In the fall, I'm sure most of you seen a lot of classes outside taking their messy stuff out there, which works out great. But in the winter, we'll all just kind of have to get a little bit more creative, maybe take a few chairs and set them out in the lobby there. Just remember, no food and drink out in the carpeted areas, of course. But, and all, as Gina mentioned, all of the hours except the last two, I believe, for karate, you can sit out in the lobby, take some chairs out there, hang out. So we really do have different spaces. The balcony is still available. There will be one class, I believe, up there.
Violin classes in the
One.
balcony.
Okay, up in the balcony area. So you still have up there that you can kind of sit as a real quiet space if you need to do some work or whatever. So yeah, so we just have to kind of look around and move some chairs and find some places to sit and hang out and fellowship together when you're on that break.
Okay.
Also for study hall, I know that Carla Schaefer had set up in the hallway back behind the office past the library area. We have the folding desk that's upstairs in the balcony. There's a couple down there that if you need tutoring where the light's not so good in the balcony, you can go sit back there. We have signs that say "Do not enter." That's just because we don't want random students sneaking off by themselves back there. But if you're a parent sitting back there doing study hall or working with your parents, you're more than welcome to go back there. We just ask that you clean up after yourselves.
Yeah. Okay. So the next few questions is just talking about how our members rated the communication from the co-op the co-op board this semester. Some of the questions were, did you feel supported and informed by our board and leadership team? And are there any specific changes or improvements that you would like to see from leadership moving forward? I forgot whose turn it was. Who wanted to grab
Fine.
yours? Okay. Well,
Mhm.
Gina, would you like to take that one?
So some of the responses, the things that we heard back were for better, faster communication besides Facebook, website, and a group email. And more, they're requesting more than a 2 weeks heads up of stuff that is going on, and they ask that we include drama in the announcements. We try to give as much heads up as possible. Like so we've kind of already hit base with this, everything is on the calendar on the website. Um, including like all drama practices are there. Um, we do use the Facebook page for a lot of our announcements and the events page on the Facebook. We have the new text message system set up that we're going to be sending out communication with. And when we do the night's news, we try not to make them where they're 30 minutes long. We try, short little blips so we can only squeeze so much stuff in there in that time frame. So unfortunately, like a 2 weeks on the night's news is all that we can give at that time. Um, but we will, oh, also on our calendar, when an event is added to the calendar, it sends out an email reminder that, hey, this is coming up.
Yeah.
So that's another thing that we also have going on. And we're always open for suggestions if you guys have ideas or something like that for ways that you would prefer to get news or whatever, then we're always open for suggestions.
I know from one of the little projects that I was working on, the text messages, it's received mixed feelings about that. Some people are like, ugh. And then a lot of people are like, I like it because like you said earlier, your phones are usually right there. So hopefully we can expand that out to the different groups like drama and athletics and stuff. So that'll be good.
And I have
Um,
been talking, just so everybody knows, I have been talking with Drama on getting information from them, so it will be included in the night's news. They are now on the calendar now that practices are starting and so on. So Drama will be in there also.
that's good. Um, Explanation of who is on the board and what their duties are. Angie, would you like to take that one?
Well, sure. All right. So all of us board members are listed on the website. So you can see us all there. And then the orientation packet that you received when you came in the fall, we are all on there with our duties, I believe. We all also got special shirts that we wear. Oh, there you go. Mr. John has his on. I don't have mine on today, but they'll
Me
say
neither.
they'll say our name and board member on there. We might not wear them every Thursday, but a lot of us do. So you can recognize us by that. Um, we are also looking to make like some type of a board so you can see our face and see our description of what we do out. But we don't have anywhere to kind of store that right now. So that's something that we are working on for the future. So we can see, everybody can kind of look at it that way.
Okay. All right. All right. Moving on along. Ms. Gina, what about more emphasis on the anti-bullying and more directly towards the students on that?
This has actually been a big conversation for our board over the winter break, and we are looking into having a longer lunch set up for the teens to come and sit down with resource officers and counselors and have the anti-bullying conversation out in the open.
All right. Next question, next topic, should I say, is suggested getting on an app like Slack or Band for the announcements and other communications. Angie?
Yeah, and I think we touched on this a little bit. Miss Gina did. Us as a board, we have the band app that we communicate with each other, but it can get to be a lot. We have very mixed reviews on whether parents, a lot of people do not want something like that. A lot of people just want text messages or they just want emails. So we want to make sure that we do enough to communicate, but not too much to where we're annoying any parents either. So like Miss Gina said, we'd love to take your suggestions, hear your thoughts further on that. In the past we've had kind of a more negative response when it comes to another app for communications, as Miss Gina mentioned before. So right now we're just trying to work with the new text messaging system. Mr. John has been working on that and probably going to be using that a little bit more. But it's just something, that's new and kind of integrating into our co-op now too. So
Uh, Next question. How satisfied are you with the classes offered this semester? And what new classes, programs, or activities would you like to see? Ms. Gina, what were some of the responses that we got for that one?
The responses were very satisfied with suggestions of more extracurricular activities for the younger groups, basketball, softball, book clubs, community service classes. Um, it was also suggested more teen classes along the lines of pottery, financial literacy, ACT, SAT prep classes, credited high school classes. Some of this was way more than what I could have listed to even begin to suggestions, but there was a lot of suggestions. Um, there were comments about where the classes were throughout the day, and when I say that, people weren't happy that gym was at this time and this class was at this time, or there was two classes they wanted to take at the same hour. Um, and when it comes to the schedule, all I can say is the teachers volunteer and we putting the schedule together is hard. It is hard. Oh, I have a blackboard behind me that has sticky notes all over it, and we move them sticky notes 100 different times trying to set up the schedule because you got to make sure that we offer enough classes in each age group at each hour. We got to make sure that the teachers aren't teaching at the same hour. We got to make sure that some teachers can't be here before this time or they have to leave by this time. So we try to accommodate everybody's schedule. So it's a challenge getting the schedule together. Um, as far as the suggestions and stuff for the classes, all I can say to that is volunteers. We would love to bring basketball back up. We've never had softball. Softball would be an amazing option. Somebody had even at one point suggested flag football. All of this stuff is an option. It just requires one thing, a volunteer. The board is really struggling to find people to keep our athletics program going at the moment. So if you're really interested in helping out with the athletics, please let us know because we really want to try to see it continue and grow. And we just need people to help us out. And the same thing when it comes to the suggestions of classes. We have a teachers meeting class at the end of, actually, I want to say it's more like mid-spring semester. And we sit down, we take a couple hours, we plan out the schedule, we talk about the different classes, who's going to teach them. So everybody is welcome to come to these meetings to help plan, prep what classes we have for the next school year.
Okay. Yeah, mm, I wouldn't even know where to start trying to make that calendar like and schedule like y'all do. So kudos to you. Thank you for y'all's hard work on that. Definitely. Um, I know this next kind of question falls in line with uh, an earlier one. Do you feel connected to other co-op families? What were some of the responses on that one? Um, and what could you help strengthen our sense of community and fellowship? Miss Angie, would you like to take that one?
Yeah, so we got some pretty good feedback on that one. So most people, the responses we got were that there was plenty of opportunities to fellowship together, field trips and events to connect and meet other families, that it just takes effort to do that. We know you can't go to every field trip and you can't go to every event. I mean, we can either. Family life, homeschool life, we know how that is. But whenever you do, and we have these fellowship things and these field trips together, we come together and you can get to know some new parents and some new students. And I feel like every time you do that, you are meeting new people. I know it took me a long time, and I still haven't met everybody on a personal level myself. But every event that you go to, and the more that you're able to do, it really does help you connect with those people. Um, Also, let's see. The other things were the lunch tables being spread out a little bit too much, and some people outside, that might make it harder. So I understand that, but who doesn't want to sit outside when it's beautiful outside, right? I know a lot of us do, and that's something that we really enjoy. Maybe switch it up a little bit. One week sit inside, and if it's nice out, sit outside and try to maybe mingle with a few different people. And sometimes our kids can help us with this too. I feel like, be like, hey, little Johnny, is that your friend over there? Why don't you introduce me to his mom? And, we can have our kids kind of, sometimes there can be, a little help us with things like that. I know I've done that before. And another thing we discussed with is a prayer before lunch. So I know usually the board, you probably see us running, and we're running and moving fast, and we're doing all of the things before lunch, or we're possibly teaching. So if we had some people who would love to volunteer to do a prayer before lunch, then, you can talk with us, you can work with us, and we can help you um, be able to do a prayer before lunch. We would love that. So if anybody would like to be a part of that, just reach out to one of us and we will talk to you about that.
All right. Just a few more questions left here. What do you see as the biggest pros of our co-op right now, Miss Gina?
The responses were the clean, welcome, spacious building, the community fellowship, diversity of the class offerings, field trips, activities. They like how the teachers are strong, kind, approachable, organized. The organization of our leadership, the extracurricular activities. They say that everyone's friendly. The children feel cared for, and they like being treated as an adult and don't feel like they have to do something. Therefore, more willing to wanting to, that didn't come out right. Being treated like an adult where they don't feel like they have to do something and feel more willing and wanting to help out. So I think that's kind of a big one. And they like that we shortening the semester to 12 weeks rather than the 14 weeks. And they like the new Gaga Pit and Night Bites Cafe.
Gaga Pit's fun. It is. First time player, it was fun. All right. Ms. Angie, what are the main cons or areas that we can improve and grow on?
All right. So let's see. We put out it would be nice for every teacher to be able to use the website for uploaded assignments and announcements. So I touched on that a little bit before, I believe. We are going to be sending out a how-to video to the teachers on the new system so they know how to send out those information to the parents, the assignments and the announcements as they need to. So that is something that we are working on. Another thing was that we need to proofread contents and post before sending or posting. Somebody misspelled and incorrect dates. This did happen sometimes. I know, especially sometimes if we use some kind of AI things that can mess us up. And I know a lot of us do that, but we will double check on those things and make sure that everything is proofreaded. Maybe we'll pass it around a little bit more before it goes out to you guys. Sorry about any of those things. Some of the rooms were a bit cramped for the number of students. Miss Gina spoke on this. The new building, I believe we're going to have some trade-offs. It is worth it, in my opinion. I think to most people's opinions, to have this big, new, beautiful building, we might not be able to play, really crazy games in some of the classrooms or this, but I feel like most of the teachers adjusted. I know as a preschool teacher myself, I had to do a lot of adjusting because the preschoolers are busy. I know most of us know that. But we're reducing the classroom sizes per teacher requests if they need to. This is our first semester in our new building. We're all learning and growing together, especially the teachers, finding out how many kids are comfortable in a classroom and how many kids are comfortable in that classroom in that specific class as well is important. So those are things that we're learning and we're adjusting. And I think you'll see some improvements on those things as well.
All right, Miss Gina, what about some more of the socialized opportunities? I know we had spoke on that. Do you kind of want to recap what we've already mentioned?
Yeah, some of the other responses as cons are stuff that we've already kind of touched on throughout this message. Socialization for parents, that comes back to the parents' night outs, areas around the co-op, communications. We've already talked about, the Facebook, the website, the emails, all of that kind of stuff. One of the other ones was including drama on the announcements, and I have talked to drama, and we're going to work on getting their information onto the announcements, so that will be on there. Somebody says that it would be nice to have a music teacher, that we don't have a music teacher, and we are working on that. We actually are talking to a music teacher to come back in the fall, and we start this semester with violin lessons. So we just found a violin teacher, so she is actually already on the class roster. Yep. One of the things is in here is cost and storage. Heard from families that the cost was the biggest drawback. So class fees are set by the teachers. How the co-op stays open and operates is by seat fees. So each class, each student has to pay $15 to co-op. that is part of your class fees. And then the teachers come in and they set a price of how much their supplies are going to be and their time that's going to be there to teach. So they're the ones that set the prices to offset some of their time and their materials that are there. But art supplies, I know that's one of the highest classes. It's expensive for all of that art supplies. So that's where some of that main cost comes in.
Okay. All right, getting down to the last few questions. What would you like to see us work towards in the upcoming semester or year? Some of the responses that we received, again, is just the communication, prayer, scripture, or maybe a short devotional before lunch. More service opportunities for upper elementary and middle school. Just take good care of the teachers. They deserve it. Especially that math teacher guy. He deserves that. He really does. Um, we're not editing this part out. A few more classes for all age groups. Again, we need volunteers for that. It's kind of what it comes down to. Just continue seeking God in everything we do. Love that. Love co-op. Just keep doing what we're doing. I appreciate that response. More lunch options, like lunch offered more often. I'm assuming they're talking about like the Knights Bites and stuff. And we could also use this as fundraising. And I agree with that. Gina, do you have something you wanted to add about the Knights Bites fundraising?
The Knights Bites is a fundraiser for the groups that sign up for it. So each week that we have a Knights Bite is hosted by either the athletic team, the teens that raise money for prom or their extracurricular events. Drama, they raise the money for their productions, and the board that raises money for our scholarship program to help families in need. So each Night Bites does go to a cause. Being able to offer in it more, we have discussed it, but it's a lot of responsibility on the families that put it together to get the food donated, to get it set up, to serve. And we just feel like every week is hard. So that's why we only do it every other week. We are working on having we're having a hard time getting a hold of somebody to respond to us because it's off season, but we are working on getting a couple food trucks to come in on the off weeks. We also offer fellowships that kind of help offset, having to pack a lunch. Trust me, if I didn't have to pack a lunch, I am all down for it. And I am tired of door dashing and everything else, but it's it is what it is, and until we get the volunteers to help donate the food to make it happen, that's where we're at.
So one of the final questions that we have, people are wanting to know. So when we have these fundraisers and, like the gun and barbecue raffle that we had, and the Nice Bites and stuff. So where do these funds go? What is the money spent on? More specifically, so like how much did we end up raising with the barbecue raffle?
It was right around $4,800.
Okay. Where did some of that money go to?
So far the money has went toward we've upgraded some gym equipment for the gym class and for recess. And we have upgraded computers in the computer lab, and we're still in the process of that. I don't know if it'll be done before semester starts. We're going through all of them and seeing what needs done. But we have upgraded some of the computers and bought a couple new ones. But that's where the money's been at. We still have some left, obviously, but that's where it's gone to at the moment.
Okay. Yeah, that's always good information to know. Um, our board meetings, I mean, they're generally opened up to not necessarily the public, but to all members. And we do discuss that. So I know sometimes if you're just curious and you want to see, stop on by the board meeting. We would love to have you.
Yep.
Kind of tell us how we're doing and stuff. So let's see. The last question. Angie, what are your thoughts on having more donuts with the coffee in the morning?
No sugar for my kids in the morning.
Come on.
Put them in all of your classes all day.
I agree with that answer. You bring in sugar, John gets the kids all day
Yes.
long.
Well, I would like to thank Miss Angie and Miss Gina. We appreciate y'all taking some time for our first, not annual, he wants to say annual, first semester of our Q&A for our MOCC co-op. It's been really fun. Been a long video, so I'll probably have to break this into two pieces. But do y'all have anything else that y'all wanted to just kind of add in closing?
Nope, I don't. Thank you guys for everything that happens at Co-op. We are a village and we couldn't do it without everybody.
Very true. We love you all.
All right. Well, I appreciate it, and everyone have safe travels. Thank you.
Mm.
Where are we traveling?
You want to do that over? Like, safe travel. What do you have a good day? Like, what if they're watching this at nighttime?
Where are they going?
Happy holidays. Holidays are over with. Happy Valentine's Day.
Toodles.
Toodles. Okay. All right. All right. Ready?
Okay.
Toodles. There.
Do that.
That's gotta be on there, John. You gotta go toodles.
Toodles.